Well, hello. It's time for another exciting episode of Pens in Use. This is the show where I talk about the fountain pens and inks I've been using throughout the week. So let's dive into it. If videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old, and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And hey, I've got a live stream coming up that's kind of special. I was hoping you could leave me some idea down in the comments when you'd like to have it. But words are hard. What we're looking at doing is I'm going to be live streaming with an ink guy. We've got, we think, some interesting topics. And we're looking at 3 possible dates. So I just wanted to get a little bit of a preference from all of you. So the 3 dates we were looking at, one of them was, and this is my time zone, where you are may vary slightly. One of them was Sunday the 15th of June, which is Father's Day, which would be something to consider. Sunday the 22nd of June, or Wednesday the 18th, and the 18th would have to be later in the evening. So the Sunday ones would be my usual live stream time, which is 1:30 my time, East Coast US, so it would be 3:30. I'm trying to remember the UTC, and I can't remember if I'm -6 or -7, but anyway, those are the options we're looking at. So let us know down in the comments. With that said, let's take a look at some pens. All right, this is like the pens in use that would never film. Every one of these turned out blurry for some parts. I found out I'd changed my focus settings on the camera, so hopefully I fixed that. And I messed with the white balance, although it sure doesn't look like it did very much, but I'm going to hold my judgment until I do the final edits. But anyway, enough of my troubles. Hey, on another note, June 6th is D-Day. Day we started moving into Europe to liberate Europe. So thankful for all those veterans, and since Memorial Day has come up on this channel a few times recently, I thought that was worth mentioning. But on with the pens. The very dark pens. Okay. And I don't know if that's the preview screen or if that's how it's really filming, so we'll find out when I edit this. But anyway, from left to right, we have the Senator. I call it the Senator Silver Fox. I don't know its real name. I've heard it called the matte gray and silver. Doesn't look gray to me, but anyway. I have my Kaweco Piston Sport, Sheaffer Legacy 2, Parker Ellipse, Pilot Custom 823 with a broad nib, Lamy 2000, Waterman Carène, and a beautiful Parker Duofold. As always, I'll be doing my writing sample in this Cognitive Surplus Theory notebook. Okay, on my preview screen, that's showing up as in focus, so hoping for the best this time. It's also not showing up very white balanced, so I might have to play with the white balance here for a few weeks. Anyway, this is my Silver Fox. It's a Senator pen from the, late 1960s into the 1970s. Piston filling pen. Uncap it. It has a very nice... Okay, anyway, it has a very nice nib. This is definitely a daily writer type of pen. Not a pen for great artistry. Although probably you could do a pen and ink sketch. So the ink in this, I am finally done with the ink bottle that would never die. I've moved on to my Delta Black. It's a much smaller bottle, so I have hopes that maybe I will use it up before school starts again. I do my little crosshatch here. We're just looking at how the pen flows. And, you know, it has some line variation, but not a lot. Slip cap, just kind of a nice overall pen. So I think we need a fox. So what do they have? Pointy ears, right? What does the fox say? Ding, 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 ding. He's got very chubby cheeks. I had like a vision in my mind and it didn't quite turn out. Give him some whiskers. That looks like a cat. Well, shoot. I'm not a fox artist. I used to work at a Fox's Pizza, fun fact about my life. This is my Kaweco Piston Sport. I replaced the nib and made it more stealthy. I put a broad nib in it. I've been carrying this pen in my pocket. The nice thing about this pen is if I lose it, because I'm wearing shorts now, if I lose it, I mean, I probably won't buy a new one right away, but I can replace it. The Silver Fox, probably not. You know, that's the trouble with vintage pens. Sometimes when they're gone, they're gone. So I think we'll give this one a double O-ring piston. Maybe one of the rings is a little smaller than the other. I actually have been, was doing a project toward the end of school where I was working with a piston, and I was working with this launcher thing that had rubber O-rings on it that were going bad. So I tried replacing them at our local Napa. Nope. Then I wrote to the company, got them. Perfect fits. They must be using some weird special size. So this is my Sheaffer Legacy 2 with the fabulous... What happened to my lights? So yesterday when everything was filmed all... Anyway, yesterday when everything was filmed all blurry, at least everything was lit properly. So that's the only thing I've changed. So I don't know what's going on. Obviously a lot of bugs to work out. I took this camera with me to do some photography, and it hasn't been right since. So I messed with something by accident, and I'm not 100% sure what. So this is De Atramentis Violets. We'll do our little crosshatch. It shows how the ink is flowing. I actually took some very overexposed pictures of mountain goats with this camera. It was as I'm racing to get the camera up that I think I messed up. Whatever it is, I messed up. Oh, let's see. I don't want to do a picture of violets again. Let's do perfume bottle. There we go. I am actually very close to tempted to reset the whole thing. So then we get, oops, forgot to show you the pen. Parker Ellipse. Kind of a different pen. Parker only made it for a very short time. I don't even know if they made it for 2 years. So some of you who've said, I've never heard of this pen, and that's probably why. I don't know why. I'm guessing the important factor for a company is usually it doesn't sell well. Why it didn't sell well, who knows? I think it's a good Atramentis. Wow. I think it's a good solid pen. Its writing isn't my favorite because if I'm not careful, it can go dry really fast. But as far as holding, maybe it looks a little weird. I know if you look at the nib, it's kind of on there. It almost looks like an afterthought. Fountain pen with the nib is an afterthought. Imagine that. I don't want to draw roses. Let's do, if you've ever heard of the old movie, The Days of Wine and Roses. Sounds like a romance, but it's definitely not a romance. It's a story about alcoholism. Anyway, on that cheery note. Oh, I'm an asshole. Okay. This is my Pilot Custom 823. I'm going to be working with this camera a little bit, hopefully this afternoon, and then tomorrow afternoon. I want to get ahead on filming some videos. There is a feature for continuously searching. I haven't liked it because it got confused during my writing samples, but I'm wondering if that's what I turned off. Because I used to be able to pull the pen up here and it would focus on it. I might have to coax a little, but it would do it. So I'm wondering if that's the problem, is I somehow turned that off. During my writing samples, sometimes it would go blurry for a second. It was a little annoying. Not what you want for a video camera, and yet at the same time, I want to be able to pull it up and give you a close-up, because I bought this camera, this specific camera, so I could do close-ups in my videos. And I've liked this camera. I mean, I did all the graduation pictures with this camera. I guess it can't be, it's not a Swiss Army knife, it can't be a jack of all trades. This is my Lamy 2000. This one's steel. I've never done a video on this pen, so I need to rectify that. That's actually one of the videos I want to film this weekend. This has a double broad nib in it. And the ink in it is Rohrer and Klingner. Scabiosa, which is a flower. And I was tempted to put one in my garden, but the flower really did nothing for me, and so I didn't. Plus, I spent too much money on flowers this spring anyway. So we'll do a wand. Maybe with a core of squirrel fur in honor of Hermione Granger, who I feel like there's a video or a movie where the actress is going, "It's not Scabiosa, it's Scabiosa." All right, this is a Waterman Carène. If you saw the set I'm working on, too, you might see where some of the problems come. So this broad nib, when I bought the pen, it had a medium nib, and then I found out I could buy a broad, so I bought a broad nib. And then the medium nib sat in my pen parts drawer for many years. I think this accent goes this way. And I never used it. And then one day, I happened to stumble across a green Waterman Carène, and it was for sale quite cheaply because the nib had been smashed all to heck. And I thought about it, and I bought it. And so the medium nib that was on this pen now lives there, so I did use it. I don't want to draw a tea bag or a cup of tea today. Let's draw a tea ball. So here's a little fun fact about me. I don't really like drinking tea bags. I mean, I'll do it, but so I don't. I usually drink loose leaf tea, which, you know, comes in a thingy like this, because you need to strain the leaves out somehow, or else you're using your teeth. It doesn't taste as papery, and you don't get as much plastic in your tea that way. Alright, I hope this preview screen is wrong, because this looks so underexposed, and I don't like the white. So I think I screwed up the white balance. But after 3 times filming this, the only way I'm not releasing this is if it's all blurry. Here is my Parker Duofold. I just like the Parker Duofold. I don't know why. This has a double broad nib on it, and the ink in it is Akkerman, Groenmarkt, Smaragd. Which has to do with greengrocers. So it's a nice enough green. I'm not wedded to this particular brand. This is the only Akkerman ink I've ever used. I think I was sent a sample maybe of the Stephen Brown Brown. But that's it. So if we're at a greengrocer, who's going to shop at a greengrocer? Well, if we had one here in my little town, maybe I would, but we don't. We have a grocery store. Sometimes I think we're lucky to have that, because I look at some of these small towns around here. But anyway, those are the pens and inks I've been using this week. So those are the pens and inks I've been using this week. As far as topics, one of the things I wanted to bring up, we had Memorial Day. I take part in a Memorial Day service that's held out in the country at a location called Mound. And so we had a... Wow, I am so dark today. What did I do? I set my exposure and everything. Well, we're just gonna go with it. Anyway, so we held this thing out in the country, pretty far from a paved road, and we had a smaller group this year. It's getting to be fewer people go to Memorial Day, and as one of the people who was there pointed out, that a lot of us don't know the immediacy of losing somebody in war, because a lot of us have been fortunate enough not to have that experience where we lost a loved one in war. So Memorial Day doesn't mean as much to people anymore. But anyway, we held it out there. They've been holding this particular service since 1919. So usually there's a church building, it starts in there, and then everybody walks out to the cemetery, raise the flag, and then we decorate. Everybody's grave that's not decorated in some way gets a flower, and then veterans' graves all get marked with a flag. And they've been doing that since 1919. Back in 1919, they had the students from the local school, because there used to be a one-room schoolhouse out there, went and decorated the cemetery, but the one-room schoolhouse is long gone, so that's not happening anymore. And actually in 1919 was shortly after the death of Gene Pearl, a man who died at age 32 in the closing days of the First World War. And he's buried out there also. So as I've been talking about this, I've just interspersed a few photos. I didn't do any video. The other thing I wanted to mention about this, I'm working on a history of that area. And a lady I know who's about 92, I think, 93, 94, somewhere around there. She's in her 90s anyway. Went through all of the local newspapers. So I've been working kind of on the side on a history of a local church. it's a country church. It's pretty far, oops, wrong way. Pretty far off the beaten path. Very far off the beaten path. It doesn't even have running water. But what I wanted to show you, a 92-year-old woman who goes to that church actually learned about me work on this project, so she offered to go through the local newspapers and see what mentions there were. So that church, there is no local newspaper, but until the early 1950s there was one, and then I don't know, I think in the 40s maybe there was two. So there was the Marmouth something. I haven't started working on that one yet. But anyway, Marmouth had a newspaper, and then Rame had a newspaper. So Rame had the Rame Review. And so I've been working on the Rame Review part right now, taking notes. And I'll work on Marmouth next. But she did this. Every single article. Here we're starting May 5th, 1910. Where the Mound Sunday School sent for 24 new songbooks. Come Friday night and help us learn some new songs. And it continues in this vein until, I want to say 1953. I don't have it over here. But continues in this vein until 1953. She cites exactly the date for each article. So as far as citations, I'm basically okay. I'm guessing there's no author, because a lot of times those are just little blurbs in the paper anyway. Some of it, who cares? Preaching was held at the Mound Schoolhouse Friday, December 2nd, 1910 night by Reverend Dickey. There's a lot of that kind of stuff that, I don't see as that interesting, except knowing that, oh yeah, they used a schoolhouse because there was no church. There was not a church until 1914, fun fact. But anyway, so I'm going through this. I'm about on page 20 of the 40 pages of handwritten notes she took just in the Rame Review. So it's taking me a little time to go through all this information. I think when my project's done, I'm going to donate the history to the church, and I'll donate all these to the church too, so that they're there as whatever kind of archives the church keeps. But the important thing is, look at the amount of work there. She copied all of the articles out by hand. And as I said, 40 pages approximately like this for Rame, and then 20-some pages like this from the Marmouth Review. Or no, it's not Marmouth Review. Marmouth something. Marmouth Mail, that's it. Rame Review, Marmouth Mail. But I'm guessing the Marmouth paper is going to be a lot of the same articles, because I'm guessing they just mailed it off to, the same person mailed it off to each one. But anyway, I am going to have a very detailed bibliography up until the 1950s for this history. And, a lot of the people that were around in the up until then are gone now. She is 92, so she was around kind of for the tail end of this period of time, but she would have been kind of young and probably didn't care a whole lot. So, anyway, that is a project that I will be working on. Hoping I can get the research done and start organizing the material together. So if we don't get many driving videos this summer, this here is why. Anyway, let's go back to my face, and I'm going to find out if third time was the charm with editing this, or with filming this thing. In other exciting news, we are going to get about 78 wind turbines put in kind of south and west of town. So far they haven't put any up, but I'm hoping to get some at least pictures of holes being dug. I haven't gotten that done yet. But I'm just going to pop in some pictures here of the big staging area that they have. One of the things that struck me about it was the number of cement trucks, because one of the drawbacks to wind power is it takes a lot of concrete, because every one of those wind turbines needs a really good foundation. Now, they'll produce power for 30 years, but then the question is, what do you do with the wind turbine? What do you do with all that concrete? I'm kind of a fan of solar because there's just less disruption to the land. And there's talk of a solar farm, but so far it hasn't materialized. But anyway, I just thought the scale of the staging area was interesting. And once they've got everything built, they'll reclaim the land, the staging area land. And I guess the farmer can use the land around the wind turbines. And yeah. So, interesting, especially with today's political climate, that project got going. But maybe they got it going before it got canceled. I had a viewer ask me about cell phones in the classroom, and I thought that would be an interesting topic to address. And then the more I thought about it, I thought, no, this is going to take more than just a quick blip on a pens in use. So, thank you. You've inspired one of my driving videos for the summer. I'm kind of busy with this history right now, but I think in a few weeks, once I get done with the note-taking part, I'll start putting some time into taking notes on other projects, like the cell phones, and putting something together, because, yeah, there's a lot there, and believe it or not, there's even some controversy there. So I want to address that and talk about it. And then just finally, it's summer. One of the perks of teaching, sometimes I think very badly needed perk, is you do get summers off. I like to be productive, so I'm not one that just sits at home. Well, okay, I am at home a lot. I don't do much traveling in the summer, but I gardening, of course. I've been working on the history. I've got my own writing projects. I want to do some curriculum work during summer. Anyway, I want to do some curriculum work. I recently read a book by Scott Sheaffer, something like that. Anyway, it's called Zettelkasten Antinet. And it seemed like a good way to collect ideas and information, so I'm going to try it out for the summer. It may all end in tears. I have always liked index cards, and in fact, I do have a video coming in the next couple of weeks about using index cards to store information. It's not going to be a Zettelkasten Antinet video. I will probably review that book soon. I may even do it the same week. But I'm going to be more general about index cards and read his book, I guess, if you want something more specific about index cards. But anyway, I'm working on that. And I can't read my last thing. Oh, yeah, I am hoping to get a trip to Medora I can do it during the week because I'm a teacher. So I was going to get to it this week and had enough else going on. I just didn't have time. So I'm thinking next week I'll get up to Medora during the week. I want to get some good footage while everything's still green. Maybe get up early enough to get some bison tromping around. You got a cow in the opening to the video this time. So maybe we can get you something better than a cow. We'll just move that thing along. And, let's see. I have a summer class I'm going to take in Bismarck, so I'm going to try to do something around that. And actually, I've been thinking a lot about retirement. It's 10 years out for me, at least 10 years out. But I've been thinking about it and doing a lot of research on that because 10 years, I have been saving since I started working, believe it or not. The magic of compound interest in my accounts is paying off, where I have more money made in interest now than I have put in. And I got 10 more years at least for that to work. So that's good news. Will I retire in 10 years? Don't know. Ask me in 10 years. I don't want to be one of those that hangs on to his job and it's just like, retire, retire. It's past time, retire. I don't want to be that guy. But I also don't want to be sitting at home going, I wish I was still teaching. So, 10 years, talk to me then. We'll see what I do. But I can sit around for a day or two after school lets out. I usually do. And then I can't sit around anymore. I got to do stuff. So, I just got to be able to afford to do stuff. That'll be the next. That'll be an important thing with that retirement. So, we'll see what happens there. And then I've been very slowly rewatching a German TV series called Dark. I watched it a few years ago. It's on Netflix, so you have to stream. It's interesting. It is very convoluted with time travel, interdimensional travel. And it takes place in a small town in Germany. So it is very interesting. I'll just say that. And I decided to temporarily get Disney Plus. Yeah, I don't have that streaming service, but I decided to get it for a couple of months. Because that's probably how long it's going to take me. And I'm going to watch Star Wars Andor on it, because apparently you can't find it anywhere else. I liked the first season. And I did the same thing with the first season. I got Disney Plus, then canceled it after I watched it. So I got Disney Plus again. We'll watch it and we'll cancel it. Because there's really nothing on Disney Plus that I want to watch. But I've heard good things about season 2, and I know season 1 was quite good. And I was sad to hear the news that the TV series Wheel of Time has been canceled. So I guess I'm not watching that anymore. But anyway, short update. Expect a garden video soon. Expect some driving videos soon. Just expect some stuff. I've got time now. And by golly, I'm going to use it. So if videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens, both new and old, and at all price points, I'd invite you to subscribe. And hey, I'm going to do that video, that live stream with an ink guy. So let me know down in the comments. I'm looking at doing it either the 15th or 22nd of June. That would be at 1:30 my time, which would be 3:30 Eastern time, 12:30 Pacific time. Sorry, I couldn't remember what California's time zone is called. And, I don't remember if I'm UTC -6 or -7, but I am. Or we'll do it Wednesday, June 18th, and that'll be later in the evening, probably about 6 my time, which would be 8 Eastern time or 5 Pacific time. So let me know down in the comments. So we're going to leave not a very exciting road, but surrounded by green grass because it's spring. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.